Mookie Betts, while preparing for his 2020 season, found out he was being dealt to the Dodgers with David Price in exchange for 3 Dodgers prospects: Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong. A deal that completely shocked the Red Sox fans across the world and would lead to the sinking of the Red Sox. But how, you may ask? They made it to the ALCS just a year later in 2021. Well, we'll get into it. But first, it is crucial to understand what Mookie Betts meant to that franchise. And while you might know who he is, a refresher won't hurt. Betts debuted in 2014 as a 21-year-old. For the game's top talents, that's about a year late in terms of his age, as most hit the MLB around the age of 20. And Betts was late because he was a 5th-round draft selection in 2011, so he had to prove himself a bit more than others before getting the call up. But yeah, once he got his way to the majors, he was a force to be reckoned with. In just 52 games in his rookie season, he registered 2.3 WAR. I'm using WAR for Betts because WAR as a stat is great for quantifying the 5 tools of baseball, and Betts just so happened to be incredible at those 5 tools. So great that in the next 5 seasons he won 4 Silver Sluggers and 3 Gold Gloves, and averaged 8.06 WAR a season. Just so you know, Baseball Reference, my main source for statistics, quantifies an MVP caliber season as 8+ WAR. Although they do clarify it as just an estimate, that means he was on average MVP level for 5 straight seasons, despite only winning it once in 2018. Yeah, I think we can see why he was so valued in Boston. He was driving numbers not only on the field, but off of it as well. And with David Ortiz retiring in 2016, it seemed like the perfect amount of overlap to switch the face of the franchise from Ortiz to Betts. He'd already brought home a World Series to Boston in 2018 as well. He was well on his way to becoming one of the giants of the franchise. Then 2 years after winning the trophy, they traded him. Not in some retool move to remain competitive, but for 3 prospects that weren't exactly MLB ready. The move demoralized not only the fan base, but it also seemed to do it to the dugout as well, as the Red Sox went from a 6 games above 500 season in 2019 to a 12 games below 500 season in 2020. All this was after they put up a 108 win season in 2018. And as we know, that 2020 season, Mookie Betts won another World Series, but this time with the Los Angeles Dodgers, the very team Boston defeated in the World Series in 2018. But how can we pin all of this failure on the trade? Well, the first reason is pretty straightforward. The pieces that Boston got in the deal just did not pan out for them in the long run. With a deal like this, getting 3 prospects for a legitimate star player and David Price, you can expect to get a star player back in one of these prospects. But since the Red Sox gave up such a big player, you'd expect 1 or 2 steady MLB players out of it. But the Red Sox didn't get that whatsoever. Alex Verdugo, who may have been the quote-unquote best to come out of the deal for Boston, I say with quotes because best is very subjective in this situation, was actually more than solid for a while. He put up multiple respectable campaigns while in Boston, even an 844 OPS in the shortened 2020 season. But being the face of the Betts trade to the fans, since he was the one to see the most big league action out of the 3 in the trade, fans had a lot of unfair pressure on him to live up to crazy expectations. And in 2023, he just kinda stopped hustling. So after the 2023 campaign, he was traded. Jeter Downs was another talked about player in the Betts deal. A 2017 first round selection, there was hope and expectation he could become a solid MLB player. He didn't, playing only 20 games in 2022 and was worth negative 0.6 WAR, which is impressively bad. He left the organization after being claimed off waivers by the Nationals. And finally, there is Connor Wong, who after establishing himself in the bigs, put up 2 decent seasons in 2023 and 2024, with 2.2 and 1.5 WAR, respectively. He was decent, but not incredible, and most teams would want more from a number 1 catcher. He didn't improve on it this season though, as he lost the number 1 spot to Carlos Narvaez. Now, prospects are best described as lottery tickets, with very few actually panning out, especially ones that are involved in trades. But going 0 for 3 essentially on a deal where they gave up a franchise star is gonna hurt the team no matter what. But realistically, that is only a piece within the puzzle of the Red Sox downfall. The next major issue they faced was they couldn't really replace Betts in the outfield. During 2015 to 2019, the 5 full seasons of Betts' Red Sox career, the team got an 846 OPS from the right field position, which is where he played. From 2020 to 2025, they got a 779 OPS from the same position. Now it looks like I contradicted myself here, and they've been fine in the right field spot, but we need to see how they got to this figure. From 2016 to 2019, their main right fielder was Mookie Betts. I took out 2015 just because Betts was a primary center fielder that year. But from 2020 up till this season, their primary right fielders switched every year. Kevin Pillar in 2020, Hunter Renfroe in 2021, Jackie Bradley Jr. in 2022, Alex Verdugo in 2023, Tyler O'Neill in 2024, and so far this season it has been Wilyer Abreu. In 2022 alone, they had 8 different guys play right field. They've gotten decent production from these guys, yes, but consistency is important. Each season, that right field spot has been a question mark, and each season they've got a different guy to play the part. Yes, once again, I will say these offensive performances have helped them greatly, but they will need to fill that spot with someone longer term than a single season that can consistently put up numbers for them. Obviously, Wilyer Abreu could be that guy for them now, as he's had a great start to his career, but locking down a main guy will be a great step forward for this team, and it'll help the team feel less like they've got a Mookie Betts-sized hole in right field. And my final, most important reasoning as to how the Mookie Betts trade sunk the Red Sox is that the deal completely flipped the switch for the front office regarding re-signing players. Over the previous generation, the Red Sox made sure to retain their talent. They retained David Ortiz over the duration of his career with multiple extensions, and Dustin Pedroia got an 8-year contract extension in 2013. Now, retaining these pieces were a huge part in their 2013 World Series win and their general success in the late 2000s to early 2010s. And to lead them into the next generation of success, they had a great cast of characters. Chris Sale, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, and Rafael Devers. Now the Betts deal came first, taking place in 2020. No matter, he's just one piece. Then in 2022, they lost Xander Bogaerts in free agency to San Diego, although they had a replacement lined up for him in Trevor Story, who only managed to play 225 games in his 4 seasons so far with the Red Sox. Just the very next season, they lost Chris Sale as they traded him instead of choosing to re-sign him to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for Vaughn Grissom, who has totally flopped at the major league level. And wouldn't you know, the next year, Sale wins the NL Cy Young, which leaves just one core player from that 2018 team, Rafael Devers. And with the way that the franchise and him have been going at it, he may be on the way out too. They brought in replacements for the guys they've lost. Crochet for Sale, Story for Bogaerts, and they also signed Alex Bregman. But it's really difficult to build a team off of free agency. They do have a few new core players like Jarren Duran, but he's on 2.1 years of service time already. So how long do they have before they repeat the cycle of trading their core? How can I blame it all on the Betts trade? Well, when they moved Betts, a guy who was practically MVP caliber every season, mind you, not only did they remove a guy who by all accounts was an incredible person off the field, but they sent a clear message to the rest of the roster that they did not plan on being competitive. Even if they did plan on being competitive, that move completely contradicted them and sent an unspoken message. So naturally, the guys left on the team wanted to play for a championship and sort of figured out a way out of Boston. The trade just halted baseball in Boston. Seeing his comments since leaving, it seems Mookie could have stayed if presented with the right offer, as he was offered $300 million over 10 years from Boston, reportedly, but declined it, and got $365 million over 12 years from LA. And when he departed, many of the top talents followed suit. Now, baseball isn't fully far gone for the Red Sox. They have a great group now, being led by Devers if he stays, and Jarren Duran. But the momentum that the Red Sox had going in the 2010s was palpable, and every team was afraid of them. And the Betts trade just sunk it all down the drain. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video though, because that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Let me know down below your thoughts on the Betts deal, and make sure to click on that video to your left if you want to see more from me. I'll see you all later.